Mark moved into an old apartment he found online to start his life in a new town. The rent was surprisingly cheap and the rooms were clean and spacious. The landlord, Richard, a gentle gentleman in his 60s, made a good impression on Mark from the first time they met. But as Mark settled into his apartment, strange things began to happen every night. For the first few days, the silence of the night was broken by the sound of undignified footsteps echoing through the hallways. Footsteps sometimes sounded like they were rushing up the stairs, stopping dead outside Mark's door. A low whisper could be heard coming from the corner of the room, but the source of the voice could not be identified. The voice was too vague to form words and sounded to Mark like a mere mutter. I was also bothered by the phenomenon of the temperature in my room suddenly dropping for no apparent reason. This chill was especially noticeable near the rooms that were always locked, and it sent chills down my spine every time I passed through that area. Furthermore, there were several times when books and miscellaneous items that I clearly remember Mark placing were clearly moved to a different location the next time I looked. During the night, you hear the sound of furniture being lightly dragged, and in the morning, the furniture has been rearranged. The creepiest thing was the shadow movement on the wall. At night, as the light passed across the room, I saw shadows morph, move, and disappear in an instant, as if someone was standing there. These shadows were erratic and moved with incredible speed. These strange phenomena combined to make Mark increasingly suspicious and fearful of the apartment's sinister past. One night, after Richard was asleep, he finally decided to investigate the room that was always locked. The room was unexpectedly spacious and had many old furniture and photos. But what caught my eye the most were the newspaper clippings plastered all over the walls. It was all about past disappearances. There was a large mirror in the corner of the room, and an old recorder in front of it. I played the recorder and Richard's voice came on. "This is the last record. They will find me soon. All the evidence has been hidden. Now I can have a new life," Mark said, frightened by the strange noises and ominous discoveries coming from his room. Ran from the apartment as if he was being chased. The darkness of the night made him feel even more afraid, and the light coming from his neighbor's window didn't seem to offer him any relief. As he ran under the street lights, he felt something following him. But when I turned around, there was no one there. That night, without contacting anyone, he sought refuge in the nearest 24-hour cave and, with trembling hands, called the police. The police listened to his story seriously and immediately went to his apartment to investigate. The newspaper clippings, old recorders, and other physical evidence that Mark had seen were seized by police. As the investigation progressed, more and more about Richard's past was revealed. He used to work as a psychiatrist, but his license was revoked due to suspicions of fraudulent medical treatment and involvement in a disappearance. The apartment was where he illegally held his patients, and its walls held forgotten secrets. After Richard's arrest and the lockdown of his apartment, Mark experienced some temporary relief, but the days that followed were anything but peaceful. Night after night he dreamed of the same whispers and footsteps he had heard in his apartment chasing him. When he woke up, he couldn't tell if the voice was real or just a dream, and he would often listen in the silence of his home, wondering if something was speaking to him. He decided to seek psychological counseling, but during the sessions, Richard's voice echoed in his head, and his mental health deteriorated further. A counselor explained to him that he may have developed post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD) due to the trauma he experienced. But to Mark, It seemed like more than just a diagnosis. For him, the horror he encountered in the apartment was never a part of his reality, but was always with him, like a fog that enveloped him. Mark is determined to find a new home and start a new life.